Here's the uncomfortable truth about The Sopranos. The real Italians in the show think the Americans are complete imposters. Few characters in The Sopranos inspire as much linguistic dissection as Furio Giunta, the Neapolitan import whose every syllable seems to remind the Jersey crew that there is a world where Italian is not synonymous with marinara. His actor, Federico Castelluccio, was born in Naples and brought to the United States as a child, an origin story that apparently qualifies him, to some fans, as either a native oracle of Neapolitan dialect or someone speaking with such an accent he should be deported to Albania. The consensus? Yes, he speaks Italian, fluent, natural, and unmistakably Neapolitan, but delivered with the very specific cadence of someone who learned his mother tongue at home while growing up on another continent. A heritage accent, not a tourist one. Of course, compared to the linguistic massacres committed by the American-born characters attempting Italian, Furio may as well be Dante Alighieri. Nothing quite captures the immigrant experience like watching Tony Soprano strain out a tortured insult in a language he plainly does not understand. One can practically hear the dialect coach bursting into flames off camera. Italian Americans throughout the series imagine themselves guardians of ancestral authenticity, until they actually set foot in Italy and discover that the locals regard them as classless curiosities, a pantomime of old country pride wrapped in tracksuits. The show's Italian characters do not hesitate to say so. Polly Walnuts in particular receives the kind of reception usually reserved for malfunctioning animatronics. The gulf between heritage and identity is laid bare. They are American first, Italian only by self-appointment. Within this ecosystem, the figure of Corky, specifically Corky Caparale, not to be confused with the entirely unrelated Corky Iannucci, emerges as another strangely magnetic footnote. He is the trusted conduit for the zips flown in from Italy, a man who communicates just competently enough to serve as their American translator, while also being the sort of individual who accepts heroin as payment and is casually suspected of torching buildings. His Italian impresses some, confuses others, and generally seems to shock the Neapolitan hitmen, who, like all Italians, maintain a complex hierarchy of regional pride and disdain. They are not mocking him, merely astonished that anyone outside Naples can manage to speak their dialect without sounding like a malfunctioning espresso machine. The debate over Furio's language choices, why he switches to Italian mid-rage, why he intimidates brothel owners in a tongue they do not understand, reveals far more about bilingual psychology than plot mechanics. Multilingual speakers instinctively revert to their native languages in moments of anger, fear, or sheer emotional combustion. It is faster, more visceral, and infinitely more satisfying. Swears are born, not learned. Cursing in one's second language is like trying to play a violin with oven mitts. Besides, intimidation does not require comprehension. Furio could mutter tender poetry and it would still terrify, because the meaning is carried in the posture, the glare, the promise of bone damage. Not understanding what he is saying merely adds to the panic. Confusion is a remarkably efficient form of dominance, a fact understood intuitively by every bouncer, interrogator, and irritated nonna on the planet. And yes, some of Furio's most celebrated lines were ad-libbed by Castelluccio himself. The now beloved moment in the massage parlor, where he unleashes a stream of Neapolitan fury amounting to, "You're lucky I didn't kill you," originated in his audition. David Chase normally despises improvisation, but this time he made an exception, wisely recognizing authenticity when he heard it. Curiously, Castelluccio's English accent is not a direct continuation of his real speech. In interviews, his English is crisp and unaccented. The Neapolitan-inflected English of Furio appears to be a deliberate character choice, perhaps drawn from family voices or simply crafted to embody a man who arrived in America as an adult and refuses to surrender the rhythms of home. The broader linguistic tapestry of The Sopranos is similarly revealing. Junior's singing in Italian, Corky's haphazard dialect, the infamous stupida fucking game, all blend into a portrait of a world where language functions as identity, weapon, and occasionally unintentional comedy. Even the scenes set in Italy highlight this divide. The locals view these American visitors with equal parts amusement and disdain. The Americans, meanwhile, find much of Italy backward, provincial, or inexplicably governed by women. An irony that would be funnier if it weren't so on the nose. Underneath the jokes lies a serious theme the show returns to repeatedly: the distance between heritage and reality. These characters wield Italianness as a cultural accessory, a badge of honor, a shortcut to pride. Yet when placed next to actual Italians, their imitation is exposed immediately. Their language is broken, their customs borrowed, their pride fragile. They are what third culture children everywhere eventually confront. Too foreign for the homeland. Too attached to the homeland to feel fully local. Furio alone bridges that divide, yet even he exists as a dramatized exaggeration. His dialect sometimes perfectly delivered, other times marked by the faintness of diasporic imprint. Viewers debate every syllable, every vowel, every accent mark, as though the fate of Naples rests upon it. If anything, the fascination with Furio's Italian exposes how deeply audiences connected with him. The man, the mystique, the fury, the untranslatable rage. His language, like his character, is not meant to be tidy. It is meant to be felt. And if it sounds intimidating, good. It's supposed to. As the man himself said, it don't translate. Some things you don't need subtitles for. Subscribe.